Just how long have you known about the yogurt shop murders? Were you alive when they happened? What do you know about them?
I was 4 months old, August, September, October, November, December. Yeah, I was 4 months old when they happened. I just found out about them. Uh, I'm a true crime serial killer documentary junkie. I've been like that for a very long time, even before I found out about my father in 2018. But I'm just finding out here recently today about them is when I got the email about what was going on. I was cooking dinner and I seen it on my phone and I was like, wait a minute. So I Googled my father's name, which I haven't done in a while. Like, for the longest time, I would Google my name or my father's name just to see if there was new things that come out because it's funny about some things that people like try and spin on how serial killers are, their family members and stuff. Um, so I Googled my father's name and then I seen what was going on. But when I seen when it had happened was in 1990, my first thought was, okay, I was born in 1991, August 29th of 1991. Where was he at then? Was my first thought when it all happened. Like I don't know how to take all of this completely. I honestly don't. I'm still trying to process it. I thought I was over this, but obviously I can never be over it because there's myself and other people that I've spoken with and dealt with since 2018, that are genealogists and true crime documentary people. They feel themselves that there was more. There's more. We know there's more. There's going to be a lot more. Um, just I'm thankful. The only thing I can say is I'm very thankful that these people are getting answers, even though my father is not going to get they're not going to get the satisfaction of being able to know that my father went to jail, paid for his crimes, because um, how do I say, suicide is not a way to pay for your crimes. It's a cowardly act. It's a very cowardly act because you decided to be whoever you are, whatever you want to call it, because it's not a man. And you decided to do with this to there are people in this world that you don't touch, and no matter how wrong you are and how much of a low down dirty person you can be, you just don't touch children and you don't mess with women. Like there's there's standards to even the evilest people in this world. And my father had to have been the seventh layer of Hades to be how he is and all the things that are coming out.
What was your relationship with him as a child? Did you ever suspect that he could have done some of these horrible things?
So we had about 2 acres of land growing up at the house that my father got for us. And he tilled up every bit of our land, every bit of the front yard, and the one by one, the 12 by 12 squares of grass that you can lay down. He went and bought it, laid it down for my mother because that's the grass that she wanted. He picked it out. When you think of the American father, like the American, just a dream father in the 90s, everybody was at your house for the cookouts, all the men in the family circle, like he was the macho man in the family circle and the friend circle. My mother was who everyone else looked up to, like they were the top people in their little friend group. And to find out my father was who he or is who he is and not what he was, what I thought he was, is very self-reflecting on how I dealt with life for a lot of years. It just it's I held my father on a pedestal for a very long time because I didn't think he was this evil person. I just thought he had mental health issues and he couldn't deal with it anymore. I never thought that he had psychotic issues that he dealt with that we didn't know about.
When you found out, what was the first time you found out that he had been involved in a murder?
In 2018,
What was the initial reaction to first hear that?
I knew something was very wrong with him mentally, so it surprised me a whole lot. But then it answered a lot of questions at the same time that I always wondered as to what was wrong with him, what would make him kill himself. Um, and to take your own life, you have to be very messed up in the head. So he was very well. Let me step back on that. To take your own life, and live the life that he had prior to it, it very it surprised me a whole lot. It really did. But understanding now that I'm older, it makes a lot of sense of his cowardly act, how you could be a coward and touch women and children, and how you could be a coward and do what you done and be this amazing man that everyone thought you were, and you're not. And I think that's why he took his own life, to hope and pray that maybe DNA wouldn't be where it's at now today, and figure out that he was this actual coward, weak man that he knew he was, but he made himself feel better by doing the things that he done, and that's not okay with me at all. Because I have a son and I have grandchildren. I have adopted two daughters adopted, and I have grandchildren, and I know I've been through a whole lot because of my father passing away. It messed with my mother mentally, and I've been through a whole lot since, and she passed away in 2018, not long after finding out that he was who he was. And he had a lot to do with why she's not here, I feel like, because she just couldn't. She done the same thing I did. He was on a pedestal. He was the greatest man ever. We a lot of people in our lives, a lot of men my mother was ever with past my father, she held him to a pedestal that no man could ever amount to. And it cost a lot of things in my mother's life that shouldn't have been there. If my mother would have known what my father was, our life would have been a lot better. But in our eyes, my father was this man that was the greatest man on earth. If you would have asked anyone that knew him at the time, including my own family, except for my grandmother.
You mentioned DNA. DNA kind of helped connect all of these cases from 85 to the early mid 90s. Did police come to you and ask you for DNA?
September 2nd of 2018, September 2nd or 3rd, 2018, the police knocked on my door and gave me their police cards and showed me that they were from Kennett, Missouri. And that's where my father killed himself at. So when they knocked on the door and they handed me their cards, they said, "Do you know what we're here for?" We're here. And I'm like, I'll read the cards and I'm like, well, my father killed himself here. And when I was 7 years old, when my father killed himself, my mother told me that the police done it, trying to make me feel better. And I understand that from an aspect of she didn't want me to think that my father took his own life to not want to be around me. Well, not long after that, I found out the truth of that that my father had taken his life. So when they showed me those cards, my first thought was that I told the police, maybe you're here to tell me that my father did not kill himself and that you guys done it, but I know for a fact that you guys don't tell people that years later. So I know it's about my father. What's going on? They're like, your father's one of 50 people that we have spoken with, and he may be involved in crimes of two murders, one in South Carolina and one in Missouri. So they're like, "Do you have a picture of your father?" I'm like, "Yes." I go trying to search for it and I couldn't find it. At the same time as I'm looking through my photo album, my mother calls me and she says that, "Hey, you'd never guess who's at my phone or at my door." And I said, "Yeah, the police for my daddy." She said, "Yeah." So they hit both of our houses coincidentally or consecutively. And it just went from there. It was as soon as the police, like, at the time I was trying to give them all the information that I could. They're like, "Hey, we have a DNA test in the car. Can we use that?" And I said, "Yes, I don't mind using the DNA test and all. I don't mind helping at all, whatever." So when we done that, I now realize, of course, I wanted them to leave. But then it was, I just needed them to leave so that I can investigate this myself. And I start going through everything within 24 hours. And I figure out that this has to be my father. There's no way that it's not my father. There's no way they would show up at my house and it not be my father. They're not going to waste their resources or time or whatsoever. And it just spiraled from there.
What message would you have for, have you talked to families of the, 2018, the past murders, but, what message would you have for this newest case, where APD, named your father as the person responsible for the yogurt shop murders?
Um, I just researched this about an hour ago. I was in the middle of cooking dinner when I got an email, which is crazy because about a month, less than a month ago, I decided to add my old email address, the daughter of Robert Eugene Brashers, to my phone again because I did not want it on my phone because people would write me every time my ID channel episode from Evil Lives Here would pop up, and I'm like, hey, look, it just, I don't know what to say back to people. I understand they're opening up to me, and I understand, but I don't honestly know what to say back to people at all, and I don't know what they're trying to get from me. I'm very guarded. I'm very untrustworthy because the one man that ever in my life that I trusted so very much, look at what has come out about him. So about a month ago, I added it to my phone, and it just so happens that I randomly get an email today about this, and it's like, I don't know what to say about what's going on exactly. I'm trying to be very guarded in what I say that's very new and not what I've said before because I don't want to hurt anyone else's feelings or anyone think that I'm very cynical or morbid in the very wrong way. But um, my father and my lifestyle since my father has passed away has been very hard. So it just messes with me personally because it just, how can you have children of your own and go and mess with children? Children are off limits no matter what. That's the only thing I can say about that. I haven't researched very much, but children are off limits. Women and children are off limits. Like, that's just not, I'm not okay with people murdering people. I don't want anybody to feel like I am, but women or children are innocent. They did nothing wrong. My father was a very messed up person, and I feel so very sorry for all four families and lives that were ruined that night. And I wish that my father would have been locked up for the very first crime that he done in Florida. I'm pretty sure y'all have researched his um, criminal history. I'm not sure
Somewhat.
if you have.
What was the Florida?
Um, yes, his very first crime in Florida that he was charged with was attempted murder in Florida with a gun charge. And everyone knows Florida and Texas are two of the main places that have the worst gun charges when it comes to attempted, like trying to hurt someone with a gun. Um, and he got off on it, might as well say. He got off on it. He got a lot lesser charge than someone who that was trafficking marijuana would have ever gotten. And that is horrible because he tried to rape and kill a woman, tried to rape her, and then when she said no, he tried to kill her and she lived. And he's so psychotic. If you read into the police report, he told on himself. Like, that's how I don't know what game or what, I don't know what you would call it, a cry for help, or maybe just, oh, look at me, talk about me, pick me. Like, with my father in the house with my mother, I wish I'm trying not to speak too ill of my father at all, because I promised my mother on her deathbed that I wouldn't. And that's something I try and hold up to this day, even though he is a very evil, evil person. Um, it's a thing of the person that he was is not who he actually, the person that he portrayed is not who he was. And if you look into the police reports and everything, you'll see nothing adds up. Most people that are serial killers or whatever, they all have the same MO. To him, there was no MO, there was no nothing. There's no adding up. 2 plus 2 does not make 4 when it comes to Robert Eugene Brashers. Unfortunately, if you read everything, 2 plus 2 does not make 4. What person who goes and wants to kill somebody and then tells on themselves the first chance they get, and then goes and does it over and over and over again? Like I don't know exactly how to deal with that. And I don't know how the families that my father has hurt are dealing with that as well.
Has APD reached out to you for this case yet, or do you expect them to at all? Or
Houston has not reached out to me at all. If they do, they do. If they don't, they don't. I
Austin,
understand that
Austin PD at all? Or
no one from the PD has reached out to me at all. Another town has reached out to me. I don't want to speak on that right now about other cold cases that my father is involved in. There's another news station that has reached out to me as well to speak about what's going on from Austin, Texas, but no one from or no one from Houston or Austin or anywhere has reached out to me at all.
do you know what, pushed your father down this path at all? You said, with your mom and you, he's the best person, but did you see any signs ever, or did he have a past that was traumatizing, anything like that?
I don't know personally because my uncle will not speak to me. His brother will not speak to me very much about my father. In his eyes, uh, I need to be quiet because um, it brings more bad on the family that's already my father's already brought, and I just won't leave alone what my father has already brought to this family. I do not speak with any of my father's family members. There's one cousin that I speak with, or I'm sorry, 2 cousins of mine that I speak with briefly every now and then. And what they have given me and spoke out and reached out to me and said was, that's my father, that's not my identity. And I completely understand that, and I completely agree with that. He's not my identity at all. But I still have ties to my father, and I have reached out to family members like in South Carolina. Um, in Greenville, I reached out to Geneva brother, and he said himself that it's not my place to say sorry, but my father's not here to say sorry, and it's inherited shame that I'm not okay with, and I want for people to know that I'm very sorry. I'm not trying to not make their crime or the crimes or their family hurt and their pain and everything into nothing at all whatsoever. I just know that people want to know from family members, and I know a lot of family members that when their family gets caught, they shut down or they're mad about it. But when you're a horrible person and you're wrong and you do wrong and you do bad, you get bad, you do good, you get good. It's what my mother lived by and what she taught me. And my father done bad, so he does not deserve any good at all.
I mean, a hard thing. You're talking to us here today to, deal with something like this, but you're completely different. I'm assuming you said you have, grandkids and kids, and is it hard to, do you find this kind of a way to separate yourself from him, to show that, there is a good person despite all the bad he did with you and your family?
Yes, I do. I'm able to separate it. Sometimes it clashes with maybe while I act the way that I act, or the way that I've acted in life, or my anger issues, sometimes I'm worried, or I used to be worried because of seeing my father beat on my mother and stuff like that. But I know I'm not my father's daughter. Finding like I know I'm not I am my father's daughter, but I am my mother, Rosemary Brashers. I am her daughter first and foremost, and I'm doing what I feel like my mother would want me to do, and answer questions that people have, because a lot of people don't want to answer these questions as to why their family members are so horrible and everything else. And maybe I can make someone else feel better and not feel so ashamed of being tied in their bloodline. The person who is their father or mother, whichever, that doesn't make them who they are, but it does make them a part of who they are. And they have a choice to choose between the evil part of them or the good part of them, and turn that evil part into good to help others.
When you were younger, do you remember your dad going to these other states, or did he ever mention Texas?
I never knew. Okay, so the murders happened in 1991, correct?
Mhm.
I was only 4 months old. So at that time, I didn't know very much about my father at all. I did not know my father was my father until I was 5 years old. I was told that my father was my stepsister's father because my mother never thought my father would ever be coming back at all. And she wanted me to have a dad and not feel left out.
You know how often or what might have brought him to Texas, or did y'all ever go to Texas? Or
I've never been to Texas with my father that I can remember at all. The only other state that I can remember going to with my father is Missouri, and that was to the liquor store, or the night that he killed himself.
where do you live currently? I mean, just state wise.
Huntsville, Alabama.
Okay.
And
Um,
my father at one time lived in Huntsville, Alabama with his father. They moved here because my father or my grandfather was an engineer, and they moved here. And but I'm not sure if anything gets into Huntsville, Alabama. There's My father was a contractor, and a construction worker, and he owned his own business. So as to where he showed up and what he done, I don't know. And I've been terrified myself to figure all this out. But it's about time for me to do some research and get the paperwork that I need that everybody else can't get a hold of because I'm his daughter. And it's time to figure out some answers for a lot of people. I have my answers. I've had my answers a long time ago. My father is not the man that I ever thought he would be, or he thought that I ever thought he was. But the time that I had with my father was my daddy. Was the all a great American father, except on his good days, should I say that? On his bad days, he is the man that everyone else is finding out that he is.
Do you mind briefly touching on what those bad days look like?
Um, he would come home from work and take me and my sister to the liquor store and be like, "Hey, don't tell your mom," and buys this big old thing of bubble gum. Don't tell your mom we're going to the liquor store, and buy this big old thing of bubble gum at a drive-through liquor store at that. And they knew him by name, they knew us by name, and they knew my mother knew that we were not coming, or that my mother knew that we were coming, or did not know that we were coming with him. Like that was a instead of the family store or restaurant knowing our names, the drive-through liquor store in Missouri, right across state lines from Paragould, Arkansas. We lived in Paragould, Arkansas at the time, right across the state lines, right across the bridge. The first drive-through liquor store you come to, that was my father's number one spot. And it went from that to my mama waking up, finding out we went to the liquor store, to goose eggs being put on her head because he would try and beat her up. And then I watched my mama multiple times beat my father a lot, but I think it was a thing of, oh, feel bad for me because seeing what he could have done to seeing now what he could have done to my mother, I really feel that he loved my mother a whole lot. That woman that you love so very much, you don't hurt so very badly. And I think that when he would get to those points, he would put his hands on her, but then something would stop him from hurting my mother like he hurt all these other people. And I'm thankful for that because I'm here today and I have an amazing husband and an amazing son. But it still hurts knowing that the greatest man I ever thought was alive was my father, is the man that he is today.
Would you mind sharing some photos? Would you mind emailing those to us?
I don't have any photos at all. We lost a lot in storage. I don't have any photos except for the family photos. Anything you can find online, that are the only family photos that I have.
So you still do have some family photos, you said, or just the stuff online?
Just the stuff online. That's all I have, is just the stuff online.
Got it. Is there, if we,
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
no, you're fine. If we send you a link, is there a way you could send one of those digitally to us, or just wherever it comes? We've got these weird copyright laws, and if there is a photo of you and your dad together, just to share on there with the story or whatnot, totally up to you though. So
Yes, I can get one of the pictures and I'll just screenshot a picture of just me and my father.
that works.
Everyone else in there, because there's a lot that goes on with everyone else in that picture. But I can just screenshot a photo with me and my father.
Okay, yeah,
But
if you do that.
From 1995, from the night we moved to Arkansas with my father.
That'll be perfect. I'll send you this link, and if you just screenshot it and send it to the link that I'll send you in 2 minutes, that should work. So, anything else you want to say or get out there? Like I said, I want to let people know, what kind of person you are and having to deal with this, but also, finding out a lot of things. I mean, I can't imagine you're sharing, all this information.
The one thing I want to say is anything that comes out from myself soon. I'm sorry, I'm not sure what's going on. Anything that comes out from myself very soon about what is going on is only to shed light for anyone that feels like inherited shame is inherited shame. And it's not what you think it is at all whatsoever. It's not. It's not. Yes, it's shame, but it's also that's who you are, and you can build from it and you can grow from it. Or you can be like, oh, that's a part of me. That person, my father was a horrible, and using my example as myself, my father was this horrible person, so I'm a horrible person too. No, your DNA is made up of your mother and father. You choose who you are, you choose how your life goes. And if you don't like it, get mad about it, do something about it. Or I'm sorry, get mad about it, cry about it, then do something about it if you do not like what's going on. You can always detach yourself from a situation that you do not like at all whatsoever. And for people that feel like no matter what they've been through, they can't get through it, you can. I know for a fact you can, because the man that I thought was the greatest person on earth, besides Jesus himself, that's ever walked this earth besides Jesus himself, turned out to be a serial killer, a rapist, and a very evil person. And because of him not being here, has let those evil people that he thought that he could avenge and he was better than, get to what he loved the most. And it's his fault that now his truth that he didn't want no one else to know is coming out, because if you didn't want people to know to start with, you should have never done it.
Good. Thank you very much, Deborah. I will send you the link and everything like that after. Like I said, I appreciate you. I know it's not easy to talk about this, but I think you did a good job, and I know it's a lot. So if there's anything else you need from us, you have our emails, that kind of stuff, and then I'll send you that link for the photo if you don't mind sending it over as soon as you can.
Okay, can you send me the link to the edited version of everything that you're going to air or
Yep.
whatever else
I'm
there is?
gonna send you the story's gonna air tonight, and then I'll send you the link to the story right after it airs if that works.
Okay, thank you so very much. I really appreciate it.
Yep, I appreciate you as well, and I will send you that link here in a second on cell phone. So
Okay, and I want to say one more thing before we get off
yep,
here. I am very sorry to every family that my father hurt. I know it is not my place at all to tell you I'm sorry, but someone has to because he wasn't sorry for it, and half of my DNA is the person that hurt you the most. So I want to tell you sorry, and I'm so sorry for everything, but I'm finally glad that you are getting answers. And if there's any questions that you have for me or anything else, please do not mind reaching out.